Okay, so we have our darkest parts of the shadow parts of our tree, and the branches look a little thin. We will put some more leaves on them. We're gonna allow some of those darks to stay, and we're gonna add some medium greens, and then we'll go to the lighter greens. So I've added some more greens to my, I have the dark green and a medium green and a light green, and also some yellow, because we might need a little bit of yellow to lighten up our greens. So I'm going to start, now that's very dark because it's mixed, that's ultramarine green mixed with black. So I'm going to start with a medium green, and we're going to, our branches will become just a little bit thicker. We'll just add a little bit more color. So the shadow should be kind of on the bottom, so I'm putting the green pine on top. I will be adding lighter greens to this, but I'm starting with sort of my dark greens. So I'm going to fill out the trees that way, including the ones down here, and then I will come back and do the next layer of green. So just little tiny movements with my darkest green. On these small trees, I'll start a little taller than the shadow, and I'm focusing mostly on filling it out on the left side, because the light is going to be coming from the left side. There'll be a little bit of green, even though I put it on the like the blacker shadows, and the dark still shows up through. I don't need to put too much on the right because I want that to be mostly shadow. I just put a tiny bit, but it's mostly on the left side, and that's the way I'm going to handle all these little trees in here. And notice that these branches, they overlap on top of that. When I'm painting this tree, I just focus in on that tree. So yeah, the greens will overlap. There are places where the branches from this tree and that tree are going to cross over each other, and that's fine to do that. I'm mixing a little bit of this medium green with this lighter green, because I feel like this color is too close to that color, and I need it much lighter than that, because that's the color I used last time. I don't want it quite this light yet, and that's just not too different. So I mix those two colors on my palette here. I just want to make sure I keep it wet. So we spray it with our water bottle. It's kind of weird for me to reach all the way across to the left. I usually tend to work from the top down, from the left to the right, because I'm right-handed. That way I don't have my hand upon wet, but yet actually this green right here, it's still wet, so I have to be careful that I don't lay my hand on it and put spots of paint, because I'm trying to get this done. So I'm going to put my pinky down as a place. I have to be careful where I set it. So it's a little bit awkward. Sorry, I have to tip this so it's easy for me to reach. So I'll come out a little bit beyond where I painted before. Part of it will cover up some of the greens, some of the darks. But all those layers will actually work together to create some texture. And I do want my strokes to be smaller and start to show some more points. I just feel a wet spot. See how I covered up that trunk? Want some delicate little edges, extra small, but I'll probably go to even smaller brush when I finally go to the, see, this branch is in front, so that looks good. So it's going to cover up our trunk. We're not going to see too much of the trunk right there. I'll just add a little bit more. Matter of fact, right here would be another good place to add just maybe a little part more to that branch, so it looks more like we have branches on top. You have to forgive my voice. It's a little rough because it's actually like 4 o'clock in the morning. I went to bed extra early last night because I was just tired. I usually don't go to bed till midnight, but I was so tired. I went to bed at 10:30, which is unusual. And I can't stay in bed for a long time. It's just, so I said, yeah, I need to finish this painting. Let me just get up and I'll paint a while. I might actually go back to bed after I finish this. But there'll be nobody up, nobody making sounds. I don't have to worry about anybody interfering with my painting. I have to decide at some point which tree's in front and which is behind. But you can see how this lighter green is making it seem more solid, and it's also showing you how the branches are in front of the tree. Some of them I want them to look like they're coming from behind. Like, I'll keep that one like it's going behind the tree. And on our little trees here, we want to hang mostly to the left. A little bit of the color will come on to the center. Remember, there are branches in the middle, so you have to have a little bit of color in the center, because there's going to be some branches hanging out this way. And here's another little bush or something. There won't be too much color on the right. It's mostly the left side. I think I'll just leave that dark down there. Trees are really easy to paint. Okay, now this branch is in front of that, so the light will catch it. Now as I do this tree, I want this tree to be behind that one, like down the hill a little bit more, because it's shorter and it's skinnier trunk, so this one's in front. So I want to keep that in mind as I put the greenery on here. So I don't want to cross over those branches. These will be like behind, so I think about that. Sometimes you can't really tell. Painting trees is one of the easiest things. And I think pine trees are one of the easiest trees to paint. Okay, this branch comes across the top. I might actually adjust that a little bit. It's coming across here. I need to mix some more of that color. Bring some of this over here and a little bit of this over here. Mix up a medium green, a light, sort of a lighter medium green. So this color overlaps your very dark greens, and all the layers actually really help. I hope I'm not putting too much. Well, I want to make it nice and green. I can always go back in and add tiny bits of dark if I need to. I'm going to add a little branch in the front here. Because you don't want the trunk to be seen all the way. You want to see it peekaboo in a few places, but not all the way. Because that's the way it is in nature. And nature is very random. This branch is obviously in the very front, so put more on there. Okay, I'm gonna kind of cross over this, but then I'm gonna go back to this, and well, it's got enough green. When I add the next color, I'll be able to distinguish what's in front and what's behind. And this crosses over that tree a little bit. See, I do want to see my trunk in a few places. Ugh, my brush is getting messed up. I need to wash my brush. Sometimes it gets all thick. I need to clean off the brush every now and then. You don't want to allow it to get all globbed up. Okay. Do not go beyond that tree trunk. There might be a little bit sticking out there, possibly. The last thing I will paint will be the grass. I just want to get these trees. I'm working my way from the back to the front. We've gone down into the valley, and now we're coming up the hill. These little trees here are the tops of pine trees that are down in the valley. Now, when we put the highlight on, these trees will pop out a whole lot better than they are right now. It might seem that these trees are kind of getting lost in all the greens down there. That's why we have to have some really nice highlights on all of this. I probably shouldn't be putting so much on that side. I think I probably will wind up going in and add just a little bit more of the darker. Just a few teensy tiny places after I'm done.